Hate's a pretty strong word. Fair warning, I like Boruto, so don't expect this to be a hate piece. Do, in fact, expect heavy spoilers for the first 2 chapters of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. But here's 5 things people hated about Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. I won't hold you too long. I'm your host, Momoshiki the Janitor. Let's get right into it. Starting off with number 5, and you knew this was coming, so let's get this out of the way, and that's Sarada's outfit. Prior to Chapter 1 releasing, the community was split on Sarada's latest design after we received a sneak peek of her shoulder. Given her outfit choice in Part 1, and the fact that her Part 2 design appeared to be more the same, catering to style over practicality, many were understandably worried for the future of our female lead. Once we finally had the first chapter in our hands though, the fears of the community were all but bolstered given what we see. For one, the style over practicality argument is justified, and I, and so many others, spent many nights wondering why her jacket always hangs off her shoulder. But at the end of the day, I personally don't need my fiction to be grounded in the real world to survive, but it is something that continues to bother me, despite the fact that, for the most part, I'm easy to please. What I can't overlook is the controversy of the way that she's dressed, given her age. The conversation is no longer about the quality of the art or story, but it entirely focused on the manga artist himself and his, at times, questionable portrayal of his female cast. I don't want to have a discussion about the ethics of Ikimoto because that's a hot topic I don't wish to touch with a 10-foot pole, but it does serve as a point of contention for fans overall. And the controversy of it all just makes interacting within the community a chore whenever the discussion is about Sarada, since it constantly overshadows everything else. And that's why this is at number 5. Sticking with Sarada for a bit, at number 4, we have Sarada's plan to help Boruto. I briefly touched on this in my video about the 5 questions that 2 Blue Vortex needs to answer, one of which was questioning the purpose of the time skip, specifically asking why our characters waited 3 years to make the moves that they're suddenly making. And when Chapter 1 dropped, the spotlight was on Sarada, being as she was one of the few people who knew the truth about what Ada did to Boruto. She's even aware of the fact that omnipotence is a reality warping shinjutsu that has completely altered the memories of every person on the planet. Yet, for the last 3 years, her plan is boiled down to angrily and frequently explaining to Shikamaru that everyone has been brainwashed. Just as I mentioned in my previous video, this is something that she should have tried within the first 2 weeks at most before realizing that she's wasting her breath on deaf ears and that she needs to come up with an alternative plan. Sarada has been shown to be at least somewhat intelligent in the past, and this display only serves to make her seem a little bit like a stubborn airhead. Now, on to number 3, and this one's a bit of a shocker because he used to be a fan favorite, and that's Shikamaru. Specifically Shikamaru as Hokage. I think this one really boils down to unrealistic fan expectation, seeing as how there were hours upon hours of theorizing who would step up as the Hokage in place of Naruto, only for it to end up being Shikamaru, the laziest person in the village. And while it makes sense for Shikadeer to fill the role, it still disappointed those who had their hopes up to see someone like Kakashi return. It seems that Shikamaru, with all the love he received for his tactical genius on top of having some of the best fights that this franchise has to offer, that the people are still unhappy with the choice of him being Hokage. I've seen quite a few times that people think that he's just totally unqualified, but I can't honestly agree with that. Even if he's brainwashed, he's doing an excellent job with what he's given. It's only because we know that he's being manipulated that we criticize his leadership, and that's just unfair. But we hate him as Hokage anyway. Have you hit the like button yet? Jumping right into number 2, we're going to be looking at the power scaling, or rather, the power cliffing that this series has seen since even back during the Naruto days. And believe it or not, the gap in power between the weak and the relevant has only gotten wider since. So for those of you who haven't been keeping up with Boruto, it may feel like whiplash to just jump right into this series, especially if you're under the impression that it's going to be more Naruto, which, at this point in the story, if you aren't Otsutsuki or Otsutsuki enhanced, then your usefulness is non-existent. There was a time in this franchise when even a simple genin like Naruto, who only knew a single jutsu, could be helpful in the battle between Zabuza and Haku. People like Konohamaru and Ebisu could contribute against pain, but those days are long behind us. Anyone who tries to even take on one of these Otsutsuki level characters are so woefully outmatched that it isn't even funny. Actually, it kinda is. But yeah, there isn't much to say about this one. It's just a bummer that a lot of our favorite side characters have just been drastically left behind, becoming nothing more than background dressing. Now, number 1, here we come, and this one stings as someone who's always appreciated Kishimoto, and that's gonna be the art. Honestly, it's understandable why many people are upset about the quality of the art given the fact that the manga is monthly, yet it's seemingly drawn worse than a weekly manga like Naruto or One Piece. It also doesn't help that the community feels as though Ikimoto chooses to work alone instead of hiring assistants, which I don't exactly know if that's true or not, but it's only fair to the fans to demand better of the artist, especially given that that big time skip has finally come and yet the art is still mediocre at best. Nothing in Boruto is blowing anyone away, and while many people look to the time skip as some holy grail that'll fix everything wrong with the series, art included, it appears as though we're just getting more of the same. Though, we did get Big Head Naruto out of it, so I can't stay mad at little old Ikimoto. And quick bonus for you, who doesn't hate the fact that Kawaki has an unnamed dojutsu? It's something we as a community never really comment on, but it's been like the crux of his fighting style ever since he gained access to it. Yet, fans have no clue what to call it. Since it's shaped like a Dharma wheel, and the karma finds its roots within much of that philosophy, check out my karma video, I've seen it referred to as a Dharmagon, but that was a completely fan-made name that probably won't stick in the long run. I remember the days when dojutsus weren't just thrown at the wall. We were very careful about who had them and how they were used. But now you've got Senrigan and Tenseigan and Dharmagon and Sharingan and Byakugan and Jogan. I don't know, to the point for me it's almost a little bit too much. But yeah, that was the 5 things that people hated about our introduction to 2 Blue Vortex. With the release of Chapter 2, I'm fairly enjoying this series despite the issues. It's by no means perfect, but it certainly isn't the dumpster fire that the internet would have you believe. I look forward to each chapter, though I will admit that Chapter 2 felt a little light on content this go around, so here's hoping that Chapter 3 gives us something to talk about. But I just wanted to put out a quick one for you guys. The Boruto content is going to definitely keep coming. But if you enjoy, won't you give the video a like since it really helps the channel out, and subscribe so that you never miss another video from your favorite janitor. But thanks for watching guys, I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here, holla!